Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So the Washington Commanders just lost 30-3 to the Baltimore Ravens. They got demolished. They're 0-3 on the preseason, but the good news is the preseason is finally over. We're going to recap everything in today's game, talk about some of the things I don't think are a big deal and some of the things that actually are a big deal, including the kicker position, QB3, and much more. If you guys are new, subscribe. We're like 20 subscribers away from 15,800. It's free. It takes 1 second. Go ahead and do it. But let's get right into it. So the Commanders have had a very, very ugly preseason so far, and they finished that off with a 30-3 loss pause to the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, it did not look good. The offense was bad. The defense, honestly, it wasn't awful. I mean, yeah, you allowed 30 points. 7 of those were pick six. In the second half, the defense played really well, in my opinion. And there were some guys that I thought really impressed. We're going to talk about them. The offense was bad. And it really sucks for some of these receivers because, they didn't get a chance to really get evaluated because of how poor the quarterback play was, not just from Sam Hartman, but Josh Johnson too. I think Sam Hartman's getting a lot of hate, and rightfully so. He's been really bad, but Josh Johnson has not been much better. I think he has an interception in each game, and my Wi-Fi, I still don't have Wi-Fi, so I'm on a hotspot right now, so it might be a little bit slow, at least some of the images and stuff, but Sam Hartman, 12 for 17, 114 yards, 2 interceptions, got sacked twice, also had a fumble. The first interception, you can say whatever, kind of, it got tipped, whatever, maybe you can say that's his fault. The second one, 100% his fault, and that's just one of the worst interceptions you can have as a quarterback in the preseason because not only was it a interception, a pick six, but it just also showed the lack of arm strength he has, and, just gives you no really real reason to keep him on the roster. And he should not be on the roster. I would be fine if he's on the practice squad just because he does know the offense. He's close with Jaden Daniels. And not in terms of, all right, are we going to need him for the season? But, having a guy on the practice squad that knows the offense, that can run the scout team offense, and is familiar with a lot of guys and can just be a locker room presence, that's fine by me. But him taking a roster spot is a whole different story. And like I said, Josh Johnson was not much better. 7 for 13, 50 yards, had a really bad interception, I believe in the red zone or a little bit outside the red zone. He was not good. And he had a really bad interception in the Bengals game. I believe he had an interception in the Patriots game. It might have been a deflection, but still, he has not been good. I do not want him as QB3 either. I'm more confident in him than Sam Hartman. I mean, you would hope so. The guy's been in the league for a long time, 14 years, 18, teams. So you would hope that you're more confident in him. And he has more arm talent than Sam Hartman, but, I don't know how much of Sam Hartman's play has been because of the injury. I know he had shoulder surgery this offseason, definitely worse than he was last year, but still, he's not gonna be, he shouldn't be on the roster. I don't think he will be. Maybe as a practice squad guy or a coach next year would be good. But let's get into the run game. Kazmir Allen was fine, 8 for 36. Chris Rodriguez was decent, 5 for 34. His first few carries with the first team offensive line type, he was pretty good. Brandon Coleman was out there. Some of the other guys were out there that are on the second-ish team, and he started to once Coleman got out of there and stuff, it was a little bit harder for him. And then Demetric Felton, 8 carries for 4 yards. The third team, fourth team offensive line were not good. McNichols, 3 carries, -4 yards. The run game was not good. Receiving game was, not much better. 164 receiving yards. It's not awful, I guess, for a preseason game. Colson Yankoff, 1 catch, 52 yards. And you guys might hate me for this, but he's shown more, in my opinion, in 2 years, or about the same as Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott, yeah, he might have, some more yards than Yankoff, but the only reason he does is because he's a second-round pick, and he's basically forced to get more opportunities. When you're a second-round pick, regardless of how good you are, you were drafted for a reason, and they saw the talent in you, so they're going to give you more opportunities than a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick, especially an undrafted free agent like Colson Yankov. And so Ben Sinnott got opportunities last year that Colson Yankov didn't. But Colson Yankov made the roster as a undrafted free agent, and was playing on game days a lot, was a good blocker, and he's really, really good on special teams. You see that. And then today had one catch, 52 yards, caught it, and just bounced right off the defender, and we haven't seen a play like that from Ben Sinnott. So I'm not trying to hate on Ben Sinnott too much. He still has, let's see what he does in the regular season with Jaden Daniels as his quarterback instead of Josh Johnson and Sam Hartman. But I really liked that from Colson Yankov. I think he makes the team. Corey Brooks had some nice catches, had 4 for 24, only a long of 8, but he did pretty well in my opinion. And Luke McCaffrey, 5 catches on 5 targets, nothing special. There was like one nice play. He made a couple guys miss. I wasn't super impressed by him today, but it was his best game. But also, the bad news for him is he was working, he was running with the 3s. He's running with the 2s as well. I mean, technically the 1s because they started today. But you know what I mean. He was running with the backups and then the 3rd string guys today. And as a guy that heading into this past offseason we were thinking would be the 3 or the 4, or some people were, I was thinking he was going to be the 4. That's not good news for that. Jalen Lane, he wasn't playing today. He was dressed but didn't play. Bill Krosky-Merritt, he didn't play either today. But yeah, Luke McCaffrey, not good news for him there. Did have a nice tackle on kick return, on a kick return. So he's obviously making the team. He'll be somewhat of a contributor on offense. Who knows how much? It really just depends on how well he plays. Does he, this offseason / preseason, is it a lot worse than what he's actually going to do in the regular season? Maybe he steps it up then. I'm not predicting that, but who knows? But, he's going to be a special teams guy for sure on both kickoffs, kick returns and, kick return coverage, because he's a good kick returner in my opinion. I'd rather have him there than Kaz Allen and Felton and McNichols, who they've kind of had them back there. Lawrence Cager had some nice plays, maybe a practice squad guy. He's been making some plays. Still, though, I would say not even like a favorite to make the practice squad. Like a guy like Corey Brooks, if he doesn't make the actual roster, he's a lock for the practice squad if someone else doesn't pick him up. KG Osborne didn't show enough today in my opinion, but they really like him. They claimed him last offseason, and he showed nothing during the regular season of the playoffs, and they brought him back. So they clearly like him. I don't. I don't think he's, deserving of making the final 53-man roster. Jacoby Jones, Tate Martin, Chris Moore all had a catch. Chris Moore, I'm sorry, he's trash. I mean, Sam Hartman, again, did not have a good game, but had on an offsides, had a nice deep ball to Chris Moore, and, it hit his hands, and maybe the defender did touch it a bit, but come on, man, you got to make that play, and it's just a pattern with Chris Moore doing that every single time, just dropping the pass. So he's, at one point, he was kind of, a lot of people were saying he was going to make the team. But the last month, he has just completely hurt his chances. At least the last few weeks, for sure, has hurt his chances, really once the preseason started. Sam Hartman fumbled. On defense, Ben Nickel had some nice plays, had a penalty, hands to the face, but, I'm pretty sure he's an undrafted free agent, not completely sure there, but I would be, honestly, I'll be surprised if he's not on the practice squad, not making the roster, but he's good on special teams. Star of the day, and he will be a separate video. I do want to make a separate video on him, but obviously want to recap the preseason game for you guys. But Alekaho, he had a great game, 7 tackles, 6 solo, and 1 TFL, was all over the place, making big plays, and we'll save the rest of the praise for him for the other video. But again, he had a really, really good day for the Commanders. Former 5-star, was at UCLA and I believe Alabama for a while. So he's definitely older than a lot of the guys that are coming out. But, has the talent, was a 5-star for a reason. And, I would be surprised if he made the 53-man roster. But practice squad, there's a really good chance there. Cam Arnold made some plays. Jordan McGee was out there. I'm really happy about that. Him and Brandon Coleman being out there, that's really good news for the Commanders. I mean, that's Brandon Coleman's a starter, and then Jordan McGee's your 3rd linebacker. So that's good news there. And, he made some tackles. I thought, he played, one drive, maybe two drives, and did pretty well in those drives. Vigors, not really impressed. I don't think he's good. Ricky Barber had some nice plays. Sheldon Day was doing some good things. Sang Bossi, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. He had some really nice plays. Had a tackle for loss, I believe, on a run play, and the other one was a screen that he sniffed out and had a really nice play there. So shout out to Bassi there. Antonio Hamilton had some nice plays. Also got hurt. Duke Riley, been hearing his name a lot. He's been making plays. You could see a practice squad at the start of the season and then an elevation at some point this year. Clelin Ferrell, he was working late, so, we'll see about him. Same thing with Eddie Goldman. Kay Madrano was out there. Didn't notice him too much, but had some okay plays. Got called for a flag. That was BS. Tyler Owens was out there. TJM, the International Pathway Program player from Zimbabwe, was out there. Man, he's, for a D lineman, he's definitely small, so he's got to put on some weight, but he did make some plays, so shout out to him. Jalen Holmes missed some, or at least missed one tackle. The kicking situation, that's ugly. Matt Gay, 1 for 2. He made a 47-yarder, but then missed the 52, 53-yarder. They're kind of stuck with him. They gave him a bunch of guaranteed money, but at some point you got to cut your losses. So he'll probably start the season as the kicker, but yeah, it's just the Commanders can never get it right at the kicker position, and even when they do, they don't. Like Brandon McManus, they get him, and then those issues were happening, and then he gets cut. So it's frustrating, and it sucks as a fan every time a kicker goes out there. You're concerned if they're going to make it or not. And there's all these other teams that don't even, they don't worry about it because they know their kicker is going to, put it right through the uprights. But that's it for today's video. Just want to talk about the final preseason game. Definitely the depth, the backups. A lot of these guys are not as good as some of the other team guys. And, yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. They got completely dominated this preseason. So that's not good, obviously. They play their starters a lot less than most teams. The starting offense played one series. I think the starting defense played one, and also a lot of the starters didn't even play. So Jaden and some of them played, but I think 6 out of the 11 starting guys didn't play when Jaden played. So even then their starters didn't play a lot, but still you would like to see a better performance. Johnny Noon also was playing late, so I don't know what's up with that if he's lower on the depth chart than we thought. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.